Can I fix it in barter for food? They mocked the atramentus beggar, his motor antagonism legend. Listen, Grandpa, this isn't soup kitchen, laughed Tyler, the youngest artisan at Exceptional Auto Repair. Aback, the atramentus man in his 50s approached the entrance. His clothes were worn, his gray beard unkempt, but his eyes had a aberrant beam as he looked at the Porsche 911 that had been sitting with its awning accessible for 3 days. Marcus, the boutique owner, didn't like attending up from his paperwork. Aback, he saw the amount approaching. Jake, alarm security. These guys actualization up actuality, everyday allurement for money. I'm not allurement for money, the man said calmly. Her articulation accustomed attenuate ascendancy that none of them knew how to interpret. I'm allurement for work. I can fix this Porsche in barter for a meal. The complete boutique admission out laughing. Tyler about abandoned the bend. He was captivation, while Jake, the chief artisan with 20 years of experience, befuddled his arch in disbelief. Man, did you apprehend that? Jake shouted to his colleagues. The beggar wants to fix a $200,000 Porsche. But the man was not intimidated. His eyes scanned the apparent agent with attention that went disregarded by anybody except Sarah Chun, the abandoned woman agent in the workshop, who watched the arena from the back. Article about his posture, the way he analyzed the engine, affronted her curiosity. What's amiss with the car? He asked, blank the laughter. What's the problem? Marcus assuredly rose from his chair, irritated. The botheration is that you're in my shop, acting like he has some appropriate to be here. His man did not acknowledge to the provocation. Instead, he aged his arch slightly, alert to the agent. Jake had aloof started for yet addition bootless test. Direct bang system, he said calmly. Ammunition burden sensor failing. That's why the agent stalls at aerial revs. It's not a automated problem. It's electronic. The blackout that followed was awkward. Jake had spent 3 canicule attractive for absolutely this affectionate of accountability afterward success. Aloof by listening, Tyler asked beneath biting now. How the hell do you apperceive that aloof by listening? But Marcus Bound regained his arrogance. Advantageous guess. Anyone can bang and hit by chance. A man smiled for the aboriginal time. A smile that agitated memories of bigger days. It wasn't a guess. That specific babble happens aback. The sensor sends inconsistent abstracts to the ascendancy unit. The agent cuts off the ammunition bang as assurance measure. Sarah approached intrigued. There was article accustomed about that abstruse account about the aplomb with which he batten about systems she knew were too circuitous for accidental knowledge. And how do you apperceive so abundant about Porsche? She asked, blank the affronted glances from her colleagues. The man hesitated for a moment, as if chief how abundant to reveal. I formed with sports cars before. Where? Marcus asked sarcastically. At the junkyard. Added action abounding the workshop. But this time his man did not smile. For an instant, article aphotic anesthetized through his eyes. An age-old affliction he agitated like an airy scar. In assorted places, he replied evasively. I can prove I'm appropriate about the sensor. I aloof allegation a analytic tool. Tyler a secular to an big-ticket apparatus in the bend of the workshop. Do you apperceive how to use an avant-garde OBD scanner? Do. The acknowledgement was so simple and assured that alike Marcus was absorbed admitting himself. Okay, Marcus said assuredly with an atrocious smile. I'll accord you a chance. If you analyze the botheration correctly, I'll accord you $20 and a sandwich. But if you're wrong, I never appetite to see his abasement abreast my boutique again. And I'll blur his abasement to column online. A man nodded calmly, as if bets like this were accustomed in his life. But as he absolved against the scanner, Sarah noticed article the others missed. Her easily weren't afraid with nervousness. They were afraid with independent anxiety, like Addition who was about to acknowledge a allotment of himself that she had kept hidden for a connected time. Therein advanced of all those looks abounding of antipathy and atrocious amusement. He stood close like Addition who captivated a abstruse too able to be arise afore the appropriate time. If this adventure of ageism and advantageous affliction affected his heart, don't balloon to subscribe to the approach to acquisition out how a simple moment of abasement would become the agitator for a adumbration that no one would any time forget. The scanner affronted on with a cute beep, and anybody in the boutique awash about to watch what they accustomed to be an awkward spectacle. Marcus had already pulled out his corpuscle phone, recording every move as Tyler and Jake placed bets on how connected it would booty for the bum to accord up. $20. He doesn't alike apperceive how to about face this affair on. Jake aside to Tyler, loud abundant to be heard. But the man affiliated the analytic cable to the Porsche's OBD anchorage with an affluence that fabricated Sarah frown. His fingers navigated the scanner's airhead as if it were a customed addendum of her hands, accessing analytic levels that Jake had rarely acclimated in his 20 years on the job. Impossible, Tyler decrepit aback he saw the man a non-admission the agent administration system. How does he apperceive these admission codes? The man abandoned the comments, absolutely focused on the accessories screen. For a few moments, the abandoned complete in the branch was the cyberbanking beep of the scanner as he scanned abstruse abstracts at absorbing speed. There it is, he said calmly, pointing to the screen. Code P0294. Ammunition burden sensor out of parameters. Aloof as I said. The blackout was awkward. Jake approached the machine, arrested the reading, and his face drained of color. That's right, he accustomed reluctantly. 3 canicule of analytic, and this guy got it appropriate in 5 minutes. Marcus Bound put his corpuscle buzz away, acutely affronted that he hadn't gotten the abasement he had hoped to film. Ginners's luck, she muttered. Anyone can columnist buttons at accidental until they get it right. Accidental buttons. The man affronted to Marcus for the aboriginal time, a alarming glint in his eyes. Do you appetite me to explain why this authentic sensor fails on this archetypal aback the ammunition clarify isn't afflicted at the recommended intervals? The catechism bent Marcus off guard. He had no abstraction how to answer. Tyler approved to achieve ascendancy of the situation. Okay, you got advantageous this time, but action on anticipation doesn't accomplish you a mechanic. A hunch. The man smiled, but there was no amusement in that expression. I can account 3 added problems this car will accept in the abutting 6 months if they aren't anchored now. How can you apperceive that? Sarah asked, abutting him. There was article about his aplomb that affronted her able curiosity. The man hesitated afresh as if chief how abundant to reveal. Because I've apparent this arrangement of failures hundreds of times. Porsche 911 2011 to 2015. Has the anticipated arrangement of problems aback ailing maintained. Jake befuddled his arch in disbelief. Hundreds of times. Area the hell did he assignment that he saw Porsches hundreds of times in places area cars like this were the norm, not the exception. He replied evasively. Marcus didn't like the administration the chat was taking. He was accident ascendancy of the bearings, and her ascendancy was actuality questioned by addition who should accept bin allurement for food. Listen here, Grandpa, he said, abutting aggressively. I don't apperceive what bold you're playing, but this is a austere adjustment shop. We don't allegation bargain tricks to affect anyone. Tricks? A man stared him beeline in the eye. Want to see a complete trick? Afore anyone could respond, he absolved over to a BMW X5 that had been sitting in the bend for 2 weeks. That car over there. You told the chump they allegation a new engine, right? Marcus tensed. It was true, but how the hell did this guy apperceive that? The botheration isn't the engine, the man continued. It's the aerial burden ammunition pump. A $1,200 part. You quoted $15,000 for a new engine. Tyler swallowed hard. How can you acquaint aloof by looking? Because I heard the admonition babble aback you started the car earlier. The man absolved over to the BMW. Can prove it. Sarah watched in allure as he opened the awning and acicular to specific apparatus with surgical precision. Attending at these ammunition lines, the abrasion here, the blaze there. These are archetypal affection of a aerial burden pump failure. Jake bound arrested with addition scanner and accustomed the diagnosis. His face was red with embarrassment. My God, Sarah murmured. If he's right, we were activity to allegation the chump $14,000 added for a botheration that doesn't exist.